This video will provide a short introduction on how to log into the R&D Tax Incentive Customer Portal from the perspective of an entire tax agency or R&D consultancy. For this video, we will look at three key stakeholders: an example client of your company called Standard Company, your tax agency or R&D consultancy, known here as Graham Company, and an example employee of your company named Fernwoo. In order to grant your agency or consultancy authorisation to interact with the R&DTI portal on their behalf, an individual from the client company must first obtain their myGovID. They then need to use the ATO Relationship Authorisation Manager to link their myGovID with their company's ABN. They can then use their myGovID to log in to the customer portal, at which point, provided it is the first time they've accessed the portal, they will be met with the following prompt to activate their company as an R&D entity. If they wish to apply for the R&D tax incentive, they need to select Yes at this step. Following that, they can then navigate to the Manage Access tile within the application page overview. Within the browser itself, your client would expect to see the following when they first log in. This is where they need to select Yes in order to engage with the R&D Tax Incentive Program. They then need to scroll down to the bottom of this overview page and use the Manage Access tile to grant your agency or consultancy access to interact with the portal on their behalf. One very important thing to note is that in order to use the Manage Access tile, the individual from your client's company that is logging into the R&DTI portal must have been granted full access rights in the ATO's Relationship Authorisation Manager. If we now look at the Relationship Authorisation Manager profile for the individual from Standard Company that is accessing the portal, they must have full access rights for the Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resources, which includes the Research and Development Tax Incentive. If they only have custom access rights, this will need to be altered by either the principal authority or an authorisation administrator from your client's company. For more detailed information on how to then use the Manage Access tile, you can direct your client to the business.gov.au website under the R&D Tax Incentive Customer Portal Help and Support page, within the subsection Authorising a Tax Agency or Consultancy. Detailed guidelines are provided here for accessing the R&DTI portal and using the Manage Access tile. Once your client has granted your agency or consultancy access using the Manage Access tile through the R&DTI portal website, you will need to link the myGovID of your employee with your agency or consultancy's ABN number. This process is similar to the one that your client will have had to use to link their own myGovID to their company's. Once your employee's myGovID is linked with your agency or consultancy ABN, they can then log into the portal. If this is the first time that anyone from your agency or consultancy has accessed the portal, that individual will be met with the following prompt asking if you wish to activate your agency or consultancy as an R&D entity. The selection of whether to do this is up to you, but for the purposes of this video, we will select No. Then we will enter the system as an employee of Graham Company, in other words, as an employee of your agency or consultancy. What the individual then needs to do is to select Switch Business, and from the menu they are presented with Choose Your Client's Company, in this case Standard Company. Once this is done, the identity of the user in the portal will reflect their role. Looking at this now from within the portal, If this is the first time that Fern Wu is logging in as an employee of your agency or consultancy, in this case Graham Company, then he would select No in order to avoid activating Graham Company as an R&D entity. From this point, he wishes to engage with the R&D Tax Incentive Program on behalf of Standard Company. He can also access the same selection menu by clicking Switch Business. Once he continues from here, he will then be able to see the applications which have already been drafted for Standard Company. And important to note is that he is now employed by the agency or consultancy, acting as a tax professional for the R&D entity Standard Company. This completes our overview of the process, and these bullet points summarise the same information about the process in written form.